Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn never, ever work for your dad.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me, as always, right in New York, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how are you?
It's 50 degrees outside. We're all gonna die in 25 years.
It'll be a barren desert wasteland.
Yes.
Yes. I like whenever I ask you how you're doing, like it's reflective of the weather.
That's true. Yeah, I've become very boring in my old age. It's like standing on an elevator with a banker and just being like, "Oh, it's snowy today." Yep.
Like talking to my 92-year-old mother.
Yeah.
She reports not just to me what the weather is like here in Southern California, but she tells me in various places around the country that we don't know anybody in.
Oh my God.
Mom, do you really need to discuss what's going on in Detroit? I don't know anybody in Detroit.
I'm actually getting like dad boring because like things that are exciting to me now are like the lamest things possible, like going shopping at Target to get new stuff. I know, it's sad. It's really sad.
That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that.
I know, man. I know. Corey, how are you?
I'm fine. It's 60 degrees here right now in Los Angeles, which also means that the world is going to be over in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things in the political campaign was the night that Trump won New Hampshire.
Okay.
And it was snowing outside, and like the snow was falling on him or something. And he said he pointed to the snow on his jacket, and he said, "What are they talking about with this global warming?"
Oh God, I hate that shit.
I understand it's snowing right now, Mr. Trump. I get that.
Oh God, like that is the
It's funny because it's funny because he's a racist. It's
racist.
It's funny because he makes Mussolini look like a left-wing MSNBC host.
Do you see what he's doing on HuffPo, where every piece about Trump has a footnote at the bottom, and the footnote reads something like, "For those of you who don't know, Mr. Trump is a homophobic, racist,
this liar. No, serial
liar. He goes on, misogynist, racist, homophobic. He just goes off about everything. Every story about Trump has that at the very bottom of the story.
I would notice that, but I always see their links to all their side boob articles on HuffPo. So I always miss that. Their righteous indignation, I miss that part.
It's a dangerous rabbit hole.
I often follow the side boob trail myself, but I often find that when you follow the side boob trail, it sometimes takes you to sponsored pages.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes if you don't click directly on whatever you want to see, sometimes it takes you to advertising.
That's
amazing.
And I think
to myself, wow, they know what a perv I am, that I will follow the side boob articles.
What do they advertise? Is it like it's like Valtrex or something?
Yes.
You also follow the side boob, and then it gets into like the links of child stars. Where are they now? Look how they've aged.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I have to click on and see how horribly these people have aged. Well, guys, if you're playing along at home, we are on Season 3, Episode 5, titled Heat and Sun. In this episode, Alex is going to go work with Steven at his studio.
WKS.
WKS. Yeah. So, this is a premise that we've seen in tons of sitcom shows of the kid having to go work for his dad, and hilarity ensues. So nothing extremely special about the storyline this week, but there were some things I liked about it. We start off in the kitchen, and once again, no Meredith Baxter Birney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's not in this one.
Bed rest.
She's not in this. Bed rest, meaning she's on maternity leave. And the kids are trying to come up with a name for the baby. And they're coming up with names from The Tonight Show, which was just a weird joke.
Not at all dated in 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doc, Charo.
Tommy Newsom.
Yeah, it's a dated joke now, and it was a non-joke then. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
feel like even the audience wasn't laughing at this.
No.
But it was corporate synergy because it was on NBC.
Oh, see. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't doing any Tom Snyder jokes or anything.
I wonder if that's how this writer got this show aired. It's like, look, I'll put in some NBC jokes if you just air it.
Right.
But the main thing that happens is Alex comes home from college bummed because he's not able to find a job. He's interviewed with several banks. He's so bummed that he immediately has to go pour himself a glass of OJ.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And he starts talking about when they're like saying that the possibility of working at a nonprofit, he spills his orange juice, and I thought that was very telling.
Yeah, it shakes him up so much.
Yeah.
Also, could you explain to me how a full-time college student at Ohio's Ivy League University,
Leland
University in Ohio, how he could possibly work a banker's job, which would be a 9-to-5 job if I know banker's hours? Right. How is that possible?
It's what I mean. Why are we even doing this? Why is this episode happening? What I mean, I get it. He's a real go-getter. But come on, just go be a college student for 5 fucking minutes.
I know, it's so irritating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true. And Paul, you when we had the episode with Professor Motorboat, you were talking about how great it would be for him to be a reoccurring character. This would have been a good opportunity. Have something else happen to Alex at college that he has to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could have easily been the thing of like he's applying to be a PA or not a PA. What's it called? When you're working for a teacher.
Oh, a TA.
TA.
Right. Yeah, it's teacher. It begins with a T, Paul. You know, he could have been applying to work at that, and they're like, no, you're a freshman. You can't do that. And so then it goes that he works for his dad.
Right.
So what money does he need?
Yeah.
He's living at home. He's not going. Guy spends all of his time doing his schoolwork.
Yeah. It's all gas money getting to school. That's all he spends his money on.
We haven't even started to sniff Tracy Pollen yet.
No. That sounded so dirty.
I meant it.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, and you've created this great world for Alex to be in. Alex at college, that's a great world to explore, but you're not doing it. Like, you already want him out of school. Anyway, so it's also known that Steven wants him to work at the public television station with him, you know, and he's very excited about the idea. But Alex tells him just keep holding out. He keeps getting rejected. I don't know why anyone would reject Alex for a position if we're going to go with that logic, because he's brilliant. It's the perfect job for him.
Well, it's probably the bank owners or managers are smarter than the writers of the show who created them. The bank people are like, you're a full-time college student.
How are you going to be able to work?
Yeah. Call us in 4 years, idiot.
The imaginary bankers created by the writers are smarter than the writers.
Yes, exactly.
That's a Charlie Kaufman script we're waiting to be written right there, Paul. Right.
Get on it. 5 years later, I want to see that script.
All right. So he's got one last opportunity with this Miss Terwilliger at Ohio Bank, and she calls basically saying, no, we filled the position. And the only recourse Alex is left with is working with his dad, and Steven is thrilled about it.
Very, very thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move on out of the scene, do we have any idea why for the first time Alex decided to have OJ on the rocks?
Oh.
Yeah, he has ice in it this time, and he walks around like swilling it like the ice is clanking in the glass. It's like, okay, you put ice in it. Can you shut up now?
Let's unpack this. So He took it out of
Yeah.
the fridge, but then put ice. He wants it to be colder.
Yeah, he wanted icy cold orange.
Yeah.
Like cold hard cash.
Yeah.
And then I saw, at the very end of the scene, I see Alex standing right next to Steven. And then I imagined Meredith Baxter Birney, and I thought, casting-wise, that's weird. He's 19 years old and in college, and he is substantially shorter than both his mother and father, which is kind of weird.
Interesting.
Welcome to Family Ties.
Ties.
Substantially shorter than his father.
Yeah.
And he's a grown-up now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are either of you taller than your dads?
No, I'm actually shorter than my dad by a little bit, but both of my boys, including the 13-year-old, are taller than me.
Wow.
Yeah, Logan, I think next month, Logan might even be taller than his brother next month. Logan is just shooting.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
Griffin's pretty tall.
Logan's tall for 13. He's 5'6", almost 5'6.5".
Man.
Yeah, so it's like, but I was looking at him and I was thinking, boy, Michael Gross is much taller than Michael J. Fox.
Something's wrong. All that orange juice does have deleterious effects.
Do we know on set, was one of them called Mike, one of them called Michael, one of them called Mikey? How did they do
Ooh, that's a good question.
I feel like we should open that up to our audience to maybe let us know. I don't know that.
Yeah, Paul, this is actually
MJF.
Hey,
I mean,
MJF.
But you know what? On like Spin City and stuff, when they would do interviews with the cast of that show, they would always call him Mike.
Yeah.
that's my assumption was that he was Mike and Michael J. Gross was Michael.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Paul, you actually brought us something. If our audience knows anything, please tweet us at Qtwft because last week we actually had, while we were recording, someone tweeted in correcting us on an episode. So
Dana.
Please, Dana, thank you very much. Please be texting us in if you hear anything that we didn't cover. Please let us know and we'll cover it.
Yeah. If you're just sitting around on a,
let us know.
What's that, Corey?
And if we're wrong about anything, and Lord knows we are, they should let us know.
Yeah. So we cut to the office, and Steven is talking to his employees, hyping up Alex, talking about his grades and everything, and they're bored to tears.
And this is where the logic goes awry to me. I sort of feel as though this show very often cuts the legs out from underneath their own characters. We've created a very smart man in Stephen Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he turn into a blithering moron on the first day that his adult son comes to be a PA at the station? He embarrasses himself, with getting him a chair with his name and a plaque and a this and a that. Just relax. This is unlike Steven to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It's a good comparison with how they make Meredith Baxter Birney. When either of them get excited about something or worked up or stressed, they make them idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I will say Michael Gross does a little bit better job with it than Meredith Baxter Birney does.
Because his comedic chops are really sharp a lot of the time. He can make a joke himself just on his own business.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yes, they are both idiots when they make the parents excited about something.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. And it just doesn't, it's not like we're pretending Alex has never worked there before, and there are episodes where he has worked there. Mm-hmm. So they're acting like it's some surprise, or like, this is the first time Michael Gross has ever had his dream fulfilled.
Right.
And it's just not the case, as we've seen in past episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're reintroduced to a guy from the season 1. Spazzy Richard is back.
Yeah, and then the other two co-workers are different people.
Yeah.
The one woman is from Night Court, isn't she?
She was the replacement for Selma Diamond on Night Court.
That's right.
After Selma Diamond passed away, it's stand-up comedian Marsha Warfield.
I remember Marsha Warfield.
And she was a little bit heavier and certainly older when she did Night Court. And the Spazzy Richard is Sal Viscuso, who we saw in the first season, and now is back again to be Spazzy Richard again.
And even dumber this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Spazzy Richard is working on something called the Menlo Project, which is a documentary that they're producing about a older woman who won't sell her home to for the because business people are buying up the neighborhood property, and she refuses to leave. So they're doing a documentary about her, and it just seems like Spazzy Richard is the last person you would want heading this project.
Is Paul frozen?
You know what?
Editing?
There he is.
There.
I'm here. What happened was the site crashed again, so
Okay.
I just logged back on, but it's the same thing that happened before, so hopefully everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's just continue on.
Okay. So we'll pick up for editing, Bryant. So they're working on the Menlo Project, which is about an old lady who is staying in her home despite businesses buying up the neighborhood. And Spazzy Richard is like the last person you would want to head up this project because he's done jack shit on it. And that sums it up, Corey.
It really does sum it up. Like,
Yeah.
Richard is a terrible character. He makes no sense in this episode. It's like he was invented just to be an antagonist for I don't even know what. The fact that they need to get a project done under a timeline. And it's this episode, other than what this episode gets right is an interesting dynamic to Steven and Alex's relationship. What it gets wrong is everything else.
Let me put this to you. Would it be better, because the way I pictured it at this point in the episode, my thinking was Alex is going to find some kind of project, especially when they brought up the Menlo Project, to want to take the reins over and do the complete opposite of what Steven would do.
Right. Like they sort of go against each other.
But hey.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
I think that would have been a more interesting thing. And then by the end, they find some middle ground where both of their points of view make a better production.
Two heads are better than one.
Right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's great. Okay, so here, talking about logic. Okay, so they're going to work on the project, and suddenly Alex gets a call at the studio from Mrs. Terwilliger at the Ohio Bank. How the hell she knew where Alex was, I don't know.
Oh, wait, did she call him at the office?
Yes.
Yes.
It makes no sense. It's weird.
Just in case I'm not home, Mrs. Terwilliger, I might be at my dad's office, so here's his number.
Well, you know, for the kids out there, that used to be a thing. You would have to tell people where you would be.
That's true.
To be reached.
That's true.
There was an old Neil Simon play. I forget which one it was, but the monologue went something like, Daddy is going to be leaving right now, and he's going to be at 458-3781. Then he's going to be going to the doctor's office, which is 212-634-4976. After I leave there, I'll be passing a payphone at the corner of Park and 47th. That phone number is area code 212-87, and he would just go on with some...
That's amazing.
Those are the days.
Yeah.
Corey, did you just do that verbatim?
No, I don't even know where
was like,
from.
I was impressed that you were pulling out all the 212s and 718s and everything.
I know. That was great.
Yeah.
So Ms. Terwilliger, however she found Alex, basically says that the guy that they hired got pneumonia and can't do the job, and they want Alex, and of course Alex accepts it. He'll see her on Monday.
Dun, dun, dun.
Done. Conflict. And so back at the kitchen, they're still going over baby names, and I thought about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yep.
they knew 30 years hence we'd be recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Three guys that did the Snow White show will be watching this.
With Sneezy and Dopey being possible names.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
I mean, at this point, we should really start to question whether or not Jennifer is drinking leaded water. that a 10 or 11-year-old child thinks that Sneezy or Dopey are appropriate names.
Paul, how far is Dayton, Ohio from Flint, Michigan?
It's closer than New York is. That's all I know.
Okay, so I'm just checking. I'm just curious about the water source. Yeah.
Oh.
So, Alex comes in and Mallory and basically says, "I'm gonna have to tell Dad that I quit." And Mallory's like, "You're gonna break his heart. This, you made an obligation to him." Alex decides he wants to write a letter. Which I thought was weird. It's really weird. And he can't even start it. It's like, "To whom it may concern."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, it's too cold. To Sir.
Yeah. And it's that thing of like they just keep putting down new. Instead of heightening the situation they create, they just keep creating new situations. And it's like, okay, so now the problem is he doesn't know how to approach his dad. And the problem before was that the dad was too clingy, or it's just like, just stick with one issue in this episode. And they just keep searching. You can feel them searching for, what the hell is this episode about?
Right. Is it going to be? Yeah, exactly. And just that, I mean, it does, and they really, I thought they were going to abandon the whole idea of Alex writing a letter, that he would realize, okay, I have to be a man and talk to him directly. But no, they keep the letter. He's going to give Steven a letter and put it in his coat pocket. So
that's the commercial.
That's the commercial. It's so great how we know where the commercial.
Can you imagine? Yeah, if you were in 1984 watching this episode and being like, "Wait, that's the commercial break?" Well, that's how you're gonna feel right now. We'll be right back. And we're back.
The difference is, if I was watching Family Ties and that was the commercial, click on the remote. I'll catch the last 15 minutes of whatever's on ABC or CBS.
Yeah. Not our listeners though. They need to find out what happens.
Oh yeah, they're on pins and needles, man. This brings me to a question I've been meaning to ask you guys. Are we operating on a more sophisticated logic of writing than they had back in the 1980s? Like, would this kind of episode be fully acceptable with any TV show back during this time?
I'm just
Could you get away with it?
If they've learned, if TV writers have learned to cover their asses better, and yet my feeling is, if we took apart Modern Family, or if we went in the other direction and took apart The Honeymooners or I Love Lucy, we would still find things that didn't make sense.
Sure.
I think it's the same thing of the study that like IQs go up 10 points in people taking the test every 10 years or every 20 years. Every generation is inherently smarter than the generation previous, and it's because we are able to... The way that we tell stories and things are more complex, and living day-to-day life is more complex than it was 30 years ago in the 80s. So, like,
True.
even if you don't, even the shitty Big Bang Theory type thing is a more complexly written sitcom than Family Ties. Like, even a great show from the 80s is not as complex as the shittiest show from the 2016.
True. Very true.
So. Yeah. But then you have shows that are genuinely good, or episodes that are genuinely good. Like even I Love Lucy from the 1950s. A great episode of that transcends the elementary storytelling that it was using.
Right. Absolutely. Just what I was thinking of. Yeah. All right. So Alex comes into Steven's office to drop off a letter, and while Steven's looking away, he puts it on his desk. But Steven doesn't get a chance to read it because Spazzy Richard has fucked up this documentary, and everyone has to rush to get it made. He hasn't done any editing on it.
It's so weird.
Like he hasn't done anything on this project.
And didn't get fired immediately for that.
And didn't get fired.
Like, I feel like John Kasich should have been in charge of Ohio, and at that point... And have fired Richard and all the fat of the bureaucracy at WKS.
Yeah. I don't know why Richard is still working there or is allowed to work there. But, yeah. So everyone is stressed. They got to put this documentary together because the deadline is 6 a.m.
Wait. Let me just say this. I just thought of this. maybe Richard is keeping his mouth shut about the whole Uncle Arthur thing.
That makes sense. That's the only reason he knew.
Got the dirt on Uncle Arthur.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I think you're right, Paul. And so we have
6 a.m. 6 a.m.
6 a.m. is the deadline. And so now we have in this act 2 like 3 different moments of them putting together this documentary. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of it, what they're trying to show is Alex and Steven bonding more and more over this project. All right, because Alex decides, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to help you out. And then we cut to later, and they're editing. He's trying to figure out what kind of music to put over the documentary. And Alex comes in with a William Tell overture,
Yes,
saying it's subtle. But they're collaborating is basically what they're showing. And then we cut to even later, and they're still trying to put this thing together, and we have Marshall Warfield telling Alex, you know, how great his dad is.
Right, yeah. This is the moment of truth for the whole episode, where Alex learns to appreciate that his dad appreciates him, and that his dad is such a good worker. And
right. It just kind of, this part drug. Like it feels like you could compact this a little bit better. You know?
Yeah. But for me, this is the only good part of the episode, where it's like they're sort of coming in for a soft landing, and it's a matter of like, all right, after all of this crazy plotting stuff that's been going on, we're finally getting into the relationship of Steven and Alex, and and all that, and that's interesting. But it's just how we got there was terrible.
Right. I really love the last scene too. I kind of like so, but before we get there, so they basically like come up with the documentary. They put it all together, and we see Steven and Alex coming home, walking in the kitchen. It's early in the morning. Mission accomplished. They work together as father and son. And Alex goes to get Steven some breakfast, some cereal. And Steven finds the letter that he put in his coat pocket from Alex saying that he wanted to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did like how they have Steven handle this, because there's been times where we've had Steven really whiny and, you know, discouraged. And I like how he kind of just accepts. It's like, I get it. I understand. I don't want to make you do something you don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fine. It's like, whatever.
At this point, you were so out of it.
I kind of was, yeah. I was watching this last night at 2 a.m., so at this point, the notes get pretty hazy.
I was watching it in the middle of the day, and my notes got pretty hazy in the second act of this thing. I just stopped taking notes. When I stop taking notes, you know that the episode is so dull, there's nothing I can even rip on it.
It's a bad episode.
This is my concluding notes. I have Keaton and Son, cowboy, hug, great hair.
Wait, where does the cowboy come in?
Something about when Alex wanted his dad to be a cowboy or something, and
oh yeah,
he would tell the other kids at school that Michael Gross was a cowboy.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Great hair.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox's hair looked great. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think overall, yeah, I agree with you guys. It is mediocre. I mean, we are kind of slipping into mediocre ideas. Nothing interesting. No interesting plot lines is what I'm getting. These are like just very typical things that we've seen a billion times before.
But what to me was really weird about this episode was the fact that not only was Elise not in the episode at all because of her pregnancy, but we barely had Jennifer and Mallory in the episode. We had more time really spent with just Steven, Alex, and the idiots in the office.
Right.
Yeah. Because we're never going to get a B storyline, I've decided at this point.
Yeah.
Although the next episode's got a little fake one.
Right.
Yeah.
It was interesting because in this episode and the next episode, they got very jokey. It felt very, very Neil Simon-y, where it was just like everything was a joke, which is a lot more how sitcoms are now. They're just joke machines. It's all just boom, 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 boom.
It was the
Yeah.
jokiness of it that I felt that was that rendered the episode mediocre. That it wasn't able to go anywhere and make a point of some sort. It became such a sort of a mediocre joke fest where let's just write some gags in here.
Right. I agree.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. If they had taken some of that away, the characters would have had time to grow. Or
That's what I felt as though but they wanted to stuff as many jokes in as possible.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we have another one down. Hopefully, we get out of this mediocrity soon.
Famous last word.
Famous last words. We've been hoping for it for so long.
By the way, just in case anyone caring, Justice Scalia is still dead.
Woohoo! Yeah, woo!
Oh, it's terrible. He's in heaven, I'm sure. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, since his son is a priest, he probably believes, and they all probably believe that he is in heaven.
Good. Good.
That's true.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
You and I both know that his maggots will be in the coffin before 4 this week.
Absolutely. Eating on his flesh, his
Oh my God. I love it. I love it.
But true American hero. True American hero. Yeah. Anyway.
This is all just satire. This is all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even maggots wouldn't eat him. It's fine. I'm just kidding.
You're right.
Kidding.
Maggots have the choice of whether they want to eat him or not.
Yes.
That's true.
That he wouldn't give other people a choice.
That's right. He did
No,
not
that's
give
actually one of my favorite memes that I saw. It was that, he's asking he wants to be cremated and that they're going to get a bunch of women to decide whether he should have that choice or not.
Well, gang, for questions and comments, please be sure to write us at qualitytimeforfamilyties@gmail.com. You can also follow us at Twitter at Qtft for all our updates. We're also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media providing its readers with daily insights and reviews to the pop culture spectrum. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the song Without Us. Be sure to check out Perry's music at perryadams.net. We also like to thank Brian Dillon, president of Fanboy Comics. He edits our show and also does our artwork. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanboy Comics graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.